The Emerald Night. The year is 2023. The place is Salem, Oregon. The sky was very rainy. That was part of the story. So there was this individual, this man called Ron. A distinguished man who had brown color hair, green eyes, a beard. This is the beginning of a story that will go on for ages to come. The first arc, episode 1, The Destruction. It was a quiet, wonderful day as Ron was doing his exercise outside, jogging down the street, saying hello to his neighbors. Neighbors next door was Terry and Tracy. But he liked to do a lot of jogging every day before he went to work. He worked for a janitorial company. A very good janitorial company called Heaven's Janitorial Service. They would clean state buildings, different state buildings. Ron, he did one particular state building. It was a massive 7-floor building that he cleaned. And he did it, he had a crew of 4, including himself. He led this crew. And they cleaned from top to bottom, doing a wonderful job. Now he went home and he noticed something odd. His front door was open, a crack. He was going, "That's very odd. I made sure I closed my door before I went for a walk." So he stayed outside while he called the police on his cell phone. And they came and went inside and checked. And there was nobody there. Meanwhile, in Portland, Oregon, introduce you to another character. Ben. Now, Ben was shopping while everything was going on in Salem, Oregon. He was shopping at Lloyd Center Mall, doing some shopping because he just got paid today. And he had today off because he was on vacation. And anyway, Ben was built. He had a bald frame. He didn't have any hair. He was in his... he was 45 and a half years old, almost 46 years old. And he was walking around. He also had a graying goatee. His frame was, he was 6 foot. He was really built in really good condition. Very muscular. Because he did a lot of working out, doing a lot of push-ups, sit-ups, doing a lot of walking, because his job, he worked for a custodial company called Garden. And he cleaned a bunch of state buildings. But today was his day off to just, relax, get paid for having today off. And as he was going through the mall, all of a sudden, he heard a shot ring out in the mall. And he hit cover, ducked down as the shot rang out in the mall. He didn't know where it was coming from because the shot was echoing everywhere. So he tried to stay down and he crawled to somewhere safe, a safe area that he could hide because he did not know where the shooting was coming from. So he found a door. He went inside that door, which was actually the bathroom. And luckily, the bathroom had a lock on it. So he locked the bathroom door. And he stayed there while he heard shooting and screaming outside. And then as he's listened to this, all of a sudden the shooting stops. And he's like, what is going on? There was shooting and screaming, and now the shooting has stopped. The screaming has stopped, and it's gone deathly quiet. And then all of a sudden he heard a thump, thump against the bathroom door. And he was like, what the heck? That doesn't sound like someone knocking on the door. It sounds like someone being thrown against the door. And as he's in there in the bathroom, he backs up to the far wall as he hears a thump, thump, thump. As a person, it sounds like they're being thrown against a wall or something. Meanwhile, back in Salem, Oregon. Now, Ron, when the police said everything was okay in his house, he went in his house, looked around, and everything was okay. Nothing was stolen, but he couldn't figure out why the door was cracked open. Because he really thought he had closed it. And he doesn't know why the door was cracked open, because he thought he closed and locked the door before he left. So he walked around and he said, okay, I got to go take a shower so I can get ready for work, because he had to be at work. He had to be at work at 9 a.m. and it was 8:30. It wasn't very far from where work was. It took him only 5 minutes to get to headquarters. So he went up, took a shower, and as he's taking a shower, he hears weird sounds, like someone walking around in that house, hearing clomping of boots. Clomp, clomp, clomp. And he's like, what is that? So he turns off the shower and he listens. Clomp, clomp, clomp. And he's like, I thought the police made sure there was no one in the house. What is going on? Clomp, clomp, clomp. And then all of a sudden, boom! The bathroom door exploded in a million pieces. And Ron went flying back to the back of the shower, hitting his head. It knocked him out. He was out. Meanwhile, in Portland, Oregon, as Ben's in the bathroom ducking and wondering what the heck's going on, as there's a slamming sound. And then all of a sudden he hears, you will pay, evildoer. And then he hears a sound of someone being thrown and screaming. Ah! Sorry. And then all of a sudden it went quiet again. And then he went over to the door to unlock it, to open it, to check to see, crack through the door and look. And as he looked, out on the floor, banged up, bruised and bloodied, with a shotgun almost 10 feet away from him, must have been the individual who's firing the gun. But he looked like someone had literally did a beatdown on him. A really bad beatdown. Meanwhile, in Salem, Oregon, 2 hours later, Ron woke up, head dazed, wondering what was going on. He looked, and the bathroom door was exploded open, wondering what the heck was going on. Next thing he knows, he was being picked up by his neck, and he's yelling, "Let me go! Who is it? I can't see anyone!" And he is yelling and screaming, and next thing you know, his neck was cracked, and he slumped to the floor dead. Meanwhile, in Portland, Oregon, Ben went outside the bathroom door and wondered what the heck was going on. There's this body laying there. The guy's unconscious. He checked his pulse to see if he was still alive. The guy was still alive. There was a bunch of bodies laying around too that looked like they had been shot. He didn't know if they were still alive, so he hurried and checked their pulse to make sure everyone was okay and people are still alive. He called 911 and the police and ambulance showed up 15 minutes earlier. And they checked the guy. They arrested the guy, took him to the hospital, and checked other people. Luckily, a lot of people survived. There was a bunch of them that were very injured, so they were taken to the hospital to be checked over. Ben was spoken to ask him what he heard, and he explained that he was in the bathroom, locked the door because he heard the shots. He ducked, crawled to the bathroom, locked the door, and was in there, heard shots, and all of a sudden he heard someone being thrown against the door and being battered and pummeled at the door, and then he heard, "This is what you get, evildoer." And then he heard the guy yell as he sounded like he was being thrown. And the police are going, okay, that sounds a little strange. So you say you came out of the bathroom and this guy is laying on the floor, like he had been, had a beat down done on him, beat up really good. Introduce a new character, Detective Thomas. He worked for the Portland Police Department for 7 years, and he was doing a really good job. He had brown hair. He was in his late 50s, but he still had the drive to put criminals behind bars. So anyway, as all this going on, with the investigation done, Ben decided, well, you know what? This shopping day sort of turned to garbage, so I'm going to head home. So he drove home all the way from Lloyd Center to Salem, where he lived. He lived out South Salem in a wonderful house that was just bought. But anyway, as he drove, he was going, what happened? That was just weird and strange. I don't think the criminal beat himself up. And what was that individual saying? I bring you justice, evildoer. That was just weird. So anyway, that is the end of